I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Beth McNulty, and I work at Gap Inc. on the Internship and Retail Academy team. And today we're super excited as part of our RISE presentation to have Michelle, who's on our Old Navy marketing team. And as you all know, Gap Inc., we're a family of brands, and Old Navy is definitely one that is a force to be reckoned with, not just money-wise, but it's just a really fun, personable brand. So I'm really excited that you'll really get a taste of what goes into making it such a fun brand and a fun place to work. And so it's all about, like, how do we think holistically about when we're talking to our customer? How do we market not just our product, but our brand? And how do we build those relationships? Because it's definitely multifaceted. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Michelle, and she'll introduce herself and take it away.
Great. Thanks, Beth. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm super excited to be here to talk about Old Navy. As you can see just from the front slide, a very fun and great brand that has a lot of personality. So excited to walk you through sort of how we build our marketing strategy, and then given the year that we've been in, how we've had to pivot very quickly to respond to our customer. So we'll talk about the strategy and then get into sort of some changes we've had to make with COVID. But just a quick background about myself. My name is Michelle Shu. I am the Senior Director of Global Media and International. I've been with Old Navy for about 11 years, which is a long time, but it's a super exciting brand that has been evolving that I've been here, and feel like I have a new job all of the time, just given the exciting energy with the brand. So I want to sort of dig in a little bit on how we sort of build our marketing strategy and how we approached 2020 from a marketing perspective. So a lot goes into sort of building a marketing strategy. We're actually tomorrow kicking off 2021 marketing planning, which is unbelievable to me, but it takes a really long time to sort of think through how we sort of need to show up to our customer, what's working and what's not. So we want to make sure we're giving it a lot of thought and attention. So as we thought about 2020, last year around this time, what we got to is really what we need to do is deliver a healthy brand and loyal customers that are driving qualified visits and sales. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our goal is to sell product, but we want to do so with making sure our brand voice comes out. We're selling through the brand, because we want people to love Old Navy. We want them to come to Old Navy because we have a great product and we're a great place to shop. Which is really exciting that we have such a fun and engaging brand to be able to deliver to our customer, and want to make sure we're doing so through all of our marketing channels. So as we think about driving the brand, what's super important for us is our creative aesthetic. So you'll see a lot in this presentation. I'll show you guys a lot of creative, because really it's super important to us, like how we show up to the customer, what energy we have in our models, the diversity that we have in our models, and also that they look great in our product. Another important part of this brand is just being part of culture and being culturally relevant. So how does Old Navy play into culture in 2020 and beyond? And how do we continue to pivot that as the world and culture continues to change, which we'll get into with some of our tactics that we've had to implement with COVID. And then just continuing to evolve with our TV platform, which we now call video platform. As many of you may know, traditional television, you probably might not even watch traditional television. You're watching more video through the eyes of a Netflix, a Hulu, a Disney Plus, etc. How are we thinking about our video and from both creatively and from a media perspective? And we'll walk through some of these changes, some of these tactics in a little bit. And then how do we deliver against our sort of value, and we call it values equation. So Old Navy is inherently a value brand. We compete in the world with other value brands in the space. We consider our key competitors Walmart, Target, Amazon, Kohl's, JCPenney's. How do we sort of differentiate ourselves from them, both from a pricing perspective, and also how we show up to the customer with our brand values, which we'll get into. So at Gap Inc., we like to say we do more than selling clothes, and that definitely is inherent in Old Navy. And it's really important that we talk about our brand values along with value of our product. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then how do we just unlock our customer value? We live and breathe our customer. Our customer is so important to us. That's who comes and experiences the brand on a day-to-day basis. How do we continue to deliver her what she's looking for her and her family? How do we personalize her shopping journey? How do we look at some of our customer segments that are more high value in terms of they're shopping us more often, they're spending more money? How do we continue to give her what she's looking for and continue to get her to shop the brand? Our core customer is a mom in her late 30s, early 40s, and she wants to shop for her family. She wants them to look really great and at a great price. So we want to make sure we're showing up that way. And then a big part of what my job is, which I get super excited about, is optimizing our media mix and targeting. So we spend a lot of money to get in front of our customer, to get her to come into the store. And we want to make sure we're where she's at, we're delivering her the content she wants, and we're driving it with profitability. So we do a lot of work on where's our audience at, how do we serve her, where do we deliver her those messages that she's looking for, and really focus on her customer journey, being there when she needs new clothes for her kids, when she's looking for something for her family for her summer vacation, and really focusing on women. They're our number one target segment. So we really want to make sure we're focusing on her and serving the needs of her and her family. And then lastly, how do we think about beyond what we need to deliver in a given year? What are some growth tactics that we think about that we can start sort of seeding as we think about the 2021 and beyond? So our customer is super important to us. As a Gap Inc. family of brands, we've been doing a lot of work on customer segmentation to really, truly understand what are the segments that shop our brands, what are segments that may shop in Old Navy and a Gap. How do we serve them differently by brand? How do we think about them? So we've been doing a lot of work on that we'll continue to uncover as we think about our marketing strategy go forward. And some super exciting news that we announced earlier this year is that we're rolling out plus sizing in all of our product assortment, which is super exciting and super differentiated for this brand, and will be really big news when we roll this out in 2021. So there's a lot of behind the scenes prep work that we need to do from a marketing perspective to make sure that we really we're ready to go to launch that. So, as we think about putting together our marketing strategy, it's all about driving the brand, delivering against the value, and really unlocking our customer and being there and showing up for her where she is. So I'll get into some more tactics now on each of these line items. So the first one, content and creative, which is always fun to show. So I just want to give, this was our strategy sort of going into 2020. Our two big key product categories that we're going after for our brand were denim. Old Navy has been known for denim. We want to always win in denim. And a new category that was sort of we've been starting and went out with a really big way in March, which really helped us in this COVID world, was fleece. So fleece is a new category. I'll show you some of the photography we had going into COVID, and then just with COVID, as you guys may know, everyone is sort of living in their sweats and sweatpants. So it's been super exciting that we've been able to be there for the customer and deliver the product that she wants. So this is a bit of our Size Yes is our marketing campaign for denim. And it's essentially Size Yes means we have a size for everyone. So our denim, we range from size 00 up to the plus sizes in denim. So we want to make sure we're showcasing that. We don't have to say it. We can showcase it through photography. So you can see here, we have a range of body types. We have a range of, you'll see men in here. We have photography with kids. So really trying to get across that denim, we serve denim for everyone in the family and every sort of body type. So this is some of the photography we had out there with denim in February and March. I'll just scroll through these. So really amazing, sort of elevating the denim for Old Navy and showcasing the fashion and style. and boyfriend was a big trend in Q1. So we wanted to make sure we got across that more cozy feeling boyfriend. We had Rockstar, which is our skinny jean, has been one of our workhorses for the brand and still super important. But as other denim trends continue, we want to make sure we're a part of that and we're marketing it in a big way. Just some more denim fashion. And then here's fleece. So our campaign for fleece is full on fleece, really looking at fleece and different, we have camo, we have tie-dye, which is a big trend. So really wanted to showcase the range of fleece that we have for the family. So here's some amazing fleece photography that we had. Very colorful. We want to show range, styling. Fleece is not just for lounging around. You can wear it out and make it look fashionable. More amazing photography. The tie-dye, which has been a really big trend. We cannot keep tie-dye online right now. It's every time I see it and I want to buy it, it's sold out, but it continues to come back. So it's been an amazing trend for the brand. Camo, another big one. And so one of the other pillars we have is sort of brand engagement. How are we out there as part of culture? How do we lead with the values for this brand to make people want to come to Old Navy, to love this brand and feel really good about their shopping experience? So this is from our CMO, Jamie. So this brand, being Old Navy, is at its best when we take a cultural phenomenon and give it an Old Navy spin. Since our very beginning, we've always been part of culture. When we opened our first New York store, we had the Rockettes out front. So really trying to be part of what's going on in everyday world. And right now, really what content is sort of key. All of the content shows that are out there, celebrity. So really trying to tie ourselves to that. We know that the most talked about brands grow 2.5 times faster than their category average. So we want people talking about this brand from a cultural perspective, also from a product perspective, but the cultural piece is super important for us. And we know that cultural relevance does drive growth. So people are 50% more likely to purchase a brand that's culturally relevant. They're more likely to purchase a brand for a first time. So it's a great way to get new customers in when you can sort of lead with culture and something they're interested in. And they're more likely to find the brand relevant to them. And so so we, pre-COVID, we were sort of in a, we were looking for a new sort of television platform to sort of showcase this brand in a big way. It hasn't launched yet due to COVID, but I wanted to show you sort of our Old Navy Tonight that we ran with holiday 2019. So we had Neil Patrick Harris, who is beloved by many, and we did a spoof on sort of a late night talk show. They've been having a moment in social. So we really wanted to sort of capitalize on the celebrity piece and what's going on with late night talk shows. And we also created a bunch of social content that we were able to push out in our channels to sort of tie the TV to social. So I'm gonna play the spot for you guys.
Welcome back to Old Navy Tonight. It's time for What's Better Than Fleece Edition.
It's a fleece frenzy out here, so let's get cozy.
Are haikus better than fleece?
No way.
What about freckles? Freckles? Are grapes better than fleece?
What?
Pet rocks? Are pickup lines better than fleece? Are wizards better than fleece?
You stole my bit, Neil, and no, nothing's better than fleece.
Shop Fleece with up to 50% off all fleece sweatshirts and hoodies. That's up to 50% off. Only at Old Navy.
Fleece, there's nothing better.
So that was holiday TV for us. I'll walk through some other sort of video content that we've been running with COVID, but sort of in the back half of the year, you'll see a new TV platform come out for the brand, which is rooted in culture, which we're super excited about. And then our brand values. This is something sort of near and dear to our heart at Old Navy. We want to make sure we are really speaking about the values for the brand, making customers feel really good about shopping us. And we do a lot of good work for the community and for the youth of America. So we want to, how can we sort of organically talk about that within our owned and paid channels? So how we think about Old Navy's values is our Old Navy's Imagine mission. So it's creating a better future for it's creating a better future for future generations. And really we think about this in 3 buckets. The first one is opportunity. So how are we giving back to the youth? We have a big partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, which we call Onward. So that's how we're developing the youth of America. So we do a lot of work with the Boys and Girls Club in terms of volunteering within the stores. We make a monetary donation to them every year. So really close partnership with them. We also have a program called This Way Ahead, which is a Gap Inc. program, which will now become an Old Navy program. And it's how we develop youth into employees at our store. So it's a job program where we give youth jobs at Old Navy stores and sort of grow them. And we've seen some of our This Way Ahead students become store managers. So it's been a really, really exciting property for us and way that we sort of can give back. And we're going to continue to grow that as a brand. As we think about inclusivity and belonging have been inherent in this brand since the brand launched in 1994. And we want to make sure we continue to do that. So you saw a lot of images from marketing. There's a lot of diversity in terms of skin color, in terms of body type sizes, things of that. So we want to make sure we continue to do that as the brand. And at Old Navy, we believe in the democracy of style, and we want everyone to feel welcome in our stores. And we want that to show up through our external marketing so people feel that they can walk through our doors and feel very welcome. So it's inherent in everything that we do from a marketing lens. And then sustainability. Sustainability continues to be more and more important, especially in retail. We want to make sure at Old Navy and at Gap Inc. that we are delivering sustainable products. So we call our sustainability platform from a marketing perspective is Heart Earth. We're doing a lot of work in terms of water conservation. There's an initiative with hangers within our stores, things of that sort. So we're continuing to evolve these. So we want to make sure we're speaking to our customer, not only about our product, but also what we're doing for the community and the well-being of our future generations. And this has been something that's been super exciting, and we're continuing to do more and more with this. And then we get into more of sort of the nitty-gritty details around the customer. So as we think about email, super important marketing tactic for us. And we want to continue to personalize emails. So if I'm receiving an email, it would be very different than any one of your emails, because we want to make sure we're being really, really relevant for the customer shopping journey and what they're looking for. So we have, as I mentioned, our core customer is a mom with kids. We also have men shoppers. We also have men shopping for themselves. We have women without kids. We have different range of women with different kids at different ages. She may be in the mindset to shop for herself. She may be in the mindset to shop for her kids. So we want to make sure we're leveraging as much personalization as possible. We have a lot of amazing tools that help us sort of personalize content for each individual. And we leverage our segmentation and what we know about the customers to do that. We want to make sure any learnings we have in email from a personalization perspective, we're taking to other channels. So we might test something in email and it works really, really well in email. So then we're going to take it to and leverage that in social, paid social. And then we want to make sure we have the proper reporting. So we're learning on all of these segments, and then we can iterate and become better marketers and more personalized for our customer. And then from a loyalty perspective, so we have a credit card program, which is super profitable for Old Navy. There are some of our most loyal customers. They've bought into a credit card program. We can market to them often. So we want to make sure from a credit card perspective that, one, we're retaining those customers that we have. So we're giving them that extra value that they need in order to keep them in our email program. And then acquisition, we always want to bring in new customers to the brand. Customers come and go, and really acquisition is a key priority for us as we sort of continue to go through the year. Each year, we want to make sure we're retaining those customers, and then we're acquiring new customers to continue to grow the business. So a lot of great work on loyalty. And then right now, as I mentioned, we have a credit card program. Another thing that's super important and we've been working on for the brand is sort of a non-credit card loyalty program. So if you guys are Sephora shoppers, Sephora has one of the best in class sort of loyalty programs with their I can't remember the name. I have the VIB, but they have the different levels. And when you go in, you get rewarded, you get points, but you don't necessarily have to have a credit card. So that is sort of the North Star for us as we think about loyalty, having a card plus a non-card loyalty program. And then it also allows you to sort of continue to track your customers. And so you know which customers purchased, and then you can continue to market to them and hold on to them from a retention perspective. And then from a media mix and targeting perspective, similar to email, we want to continue to drive demand, and we want to make sure we're taking a very audience-centric approach. I'll walk through a little bit about next how we think about the customer journey and where we put specific messages to them, because we think it's super important to make sure we're not only telling everyone a value, like a price-based value message, but we're also telling them about the amazing product that we have. When we're launching fleece, we want to get out there in a big way that says, come to Old Navy, we have this amazing new fleece product. If we're launching a new TV spot with a Neil Patrick Harris, how do we get that message out there? And then how do we talk about our amazing Onward program, Size Yes, and our sustainability? So I'll walk through that next. So as we think about our digital media framework, so as we think about our marketing strategy and where we're investing our dollars, as I mentioned, we have a big investment in television and video, and then we have a really sizable investment in digital media. And we want to think about, how do we think about as I've talked about, where the customer is, are we giving them the right message? Are we giving them the right piece of content sort of when they're in that mind frame? So this is a very basic sort of marketing funnel. It is really not a funnel. This is a simplistic way to look at it. You could really be in any sort of one of these at any given time, depending sort of what property you're on, what mindset you're in. But we really try to think about it from a customer perspective of awareness, consideration, and conversion. So awareness, she's browsing. She might be on the Pop Sugar homepage, looking at sort of an article she saw. And what we really want to do there is we really want to inspire her. We want to get her really excited about the brand. We want to make her think like, oh, Old Navy's doing that. Or I haven't seen that from Old Navy in a while. It's a very broad audience that we're looking at. And our really KPI there is an engagement. And ideally, we want her to feel a little bit of like love for the brand or something new from the brand. And ideally, we get her to engage in that piece of content, and then we can remarket her with some other pieces of content. When we were thinking about our organic social strategy going into the year, it was really all about brand love, really showcasing product, all about followers and engagement. And I'm going to go into a little more specifics in a little bit on how we've pivoted that quite a bit with COVID. And then consideration. This is a super important area of the funnel for us. We really want to get her super, super excited about the product. So when we think about launching fleece as a category, consideration is super important, because we want to get out there with the product. We want to be able to explain the product. We want to tell her about it. We want to influence her to maybe come in a store, visit the site, and traffic and new customers is sort of our main KPI there. And then when you get to the very bottom, she's ready to buy something. We want her to convert. So here is where we're going to give her that great value and price to get her to convert and ultimately buy the product. And then as we think about our growth strategies, I talked a little bit about this, but we want to make sure we're thinking about what's on the horizon for the brand, not just what we need to do sort of in that year. So customer, key focus of the brand, but how do we get to know her more? How do we know more about her? So lots of segmentation and work on the customer and thinking more about her experience. How do we think about going into 2020, it was a lot about store and site experience. Now that we're in this COVID world, how are we really thinking about the online experience, where that's where most customers are sort of engaging with the brand first? And then product. What are new product categories? We talked about Plus going into 2020. I'm going to talk in a minute about masks, which was a surprise new product category for us, but how are we sort of balancing out what we need to do in the given year and then what we need to do go forward? So that was our sort of strategy going into 2020. We were in the midst of executing it. And then, as you all know, the world changed overnight. And we really needed to pivot and think through how we were changing our, how we show up to the customer, what we need to do to be sensitive to what's going on in the world in terms of everyone is sort of sheltering in place. Things sort of changed. And so I'll walk you through a little bit of how our content shifted and some other things that we're sort of doing as a brand to sort of continue to respond to how things are continuing to change quickly in the world right now. So the first one is social. So, and this is particularly relates to sort of organic social feed. So part of what's great about Old Navy and which differentiates us from a lot of brands is sort of our brand voice and our tone of voice. Again, I mentioned this a lot. We want to be really culturally relevant. We want to have that like voice of more of a peer-to-peer, friend-to-friend voice, and really be playfully optimistic. One of our key brand pillars is fun. So our 4 brand pillars are fun, fashion, family, and values. And we want to make sure that the fun comes out. So we call this our lemonade content because we were making lemonade out of lemons in a COVID world, and really wanted to sort of connect with our community, show some empathy for what's going on. So our social team was scouring social, sort of bringing in a lot of these amazing UGC pieces, a lot of cute kids sort of living in this COVID world, to make sure we were really able to sort of give our social followers some relevant content, give them a smile, and make them feel really good about the brand. There's also been a lot of new things coming up the world, like this little baby goat on the left wearing tie-dye, pretty amazing, just such an amazing sort of image we wanted to get out there to make people smile. We've been seeing a lot of horoscopes trending in social, so sort of tying that back to Easter, not related to product at all, but really sort of giving people that fun, unexpected, thumb-stopping piece of content. You guys have probably been on it, but probably know TikTok is having a moment. So how do we make sure we're sort of capitalizing on some TikTok content and bringing that into our social feed? And then as we tie it back to product, how do we tie back product into what's going on in the world? So when Gigi Hadid announced that she was pregnant, our maternity jeans happened to be called the Gigi. So we definitely wanted to make sure we had a post around that. We tied our fleece our sort of fleece pants back to sort of the drinks of COVID, so the fluffy coffee, things of that sort. So how are we tying back our product to culture? And we've seen sort of a lot of success here. And then our audience is responding. They're really loving sort of our peer-to-peer voice, that we're being culturally relevant. So we're excited to continue this. It's something as a brand that we want to make sure our voice and our tone shows up. We want to make sure we're there to give her a smile. And we've definitely been doing that in our pivot to our social content in the last couple of months. And then photography. So I showed you guys a lot of photography at the beginning. That was all shot either on set or in studio. Typically when we have an on-set shoot or an in studio, there are a lot of people behind the scenes who require that to happen. With COVID, all photography had to be shut down, and we require a lot of photography in our emails, in our media, and on our site in order for this business to run. So we had to quickly pivot. So what we did was we tapped into a lot of our influencers that we've been working with. We sent them product. They have amazing photography skills, and we had them shoot themselves and their families in our product. And so here's sort of some of the imagery we had around the 4th of July. Turned out absolutely amazing. And this is all the imagery, the types of imagery that we've been running on our site, in our email, and in our paid digital over the last few months in order to still have photography and a workaround. And it's been received very well by our customer. Like the customer sees themselves in a lot of this. So it's been super exciting to see how this has pivoted. And there's another one of sort of our women. So these are all influencers shot either by a partner, by a selfie cam, by a tripod. So it's been super exciting to see this sort of pivot and evolve. And masks. So I talked about how in the beginning of 2020, we were planning for our Plus launch, not thinking that masks would come on the horizon. And with COVID, with masks, knowing that people needed to wear them, we produced masks, which has been really exciting. And so we launched Masks for the Family. They are 5 for $12.50, which is an amazing value. The prints are really fun in a very Old Navy way, so lots of prints and patterns. We went out with press on May 8th, so less than a 2-month turnaround in terms of launching a new product category. On May 17th, masks began shipping. We had an external marketing launch. It is now full out there right now. We made a donation to Boys and Girls Club with our first mask sold, and really have been out there in a big way to help. Now that masks are mandated in most places, we are able to serve our customer, both for her and her children and her family with masks. So here's a little bit of this is some of the inspiration as the team was sort of thinking through masks. The concept is around this smizing idea that even though you have a mask on your face, you can still sort of have your personality and playful gestures and interactions through your eyes. Here's our range of masks. And our initial mask, when we initially went out with masks, it was based on sort of fabrics that we had in some of our factories versus net new fabrics. And now the team is sort of, now that we have masks under our belt and more in the production cycle, tying them to some of the prints and patterns of the current collections, which you'll sort of see as we go through the rest of the year. Some more imagery. Again, this was all our influencers shot. Some people are on the bottom left. He's actually our photographer. So really creative ways to get photography with masks. And then here is some of the paid, as I mentioned, our marketing campaign is out there. Here's some of the paid media that we have. You can see on the left is a Facebook and Instagram ad. And then on the right is a display ad that we have that you can actually click up and then shop. And then another big piece of marketing is our stores. How do we market to our customers that our stores are reopen, that our stores are reopened safely, and that we can serve them if they want to shop in a store versus online. So as stores began to reopen in May, we had a lot of quick work to do. One, to make sure the stores were open safely and that our store employees were safe and customers coming in were safe. And how do we communicate that? So this is just a quick sort of reopening plan. Obviously health and safety, number one. We did a lot of PRIRs, like a print-in store. So we needed to get stores open and get the marketing materials to stores quickly. So we designed stuff, the stores printed them themselves. We have convenience services that we wanted to offer up to our customers. In many cases, you couldn't actually walk into a store, but you could do curbside. So curbside was I'll get into some of the marketing. We did not have curbside pre-COVID. We had BOPIS, which is buy online, pick up in store. So the tech teams and the stores teams had to quickly pivot to sort of allow curbside to be an offering for our customers. And then we needed to determine how to market that to our customers, to let them know we have if you don't want to shop online, you can still shop, and then you can come pick it up outside of our store in a safe way. And then so we launched with curbside in our stores, and then curbside plus the BOPIS offering. So if people wanted to, in the stores that were open, they could walk in a store and pick up their items. And this was a very Gap Inc. initiative. At the beginning, it was a lot of the materials were cross-branded. You would see the same health and safety in a Banana Republic or a Gap as you would in Old Navy. And then as we've continued to reopen, we've made it more branding to Old Navy. So I'll just walk through a quick, some of the marketing that we have out there to let customers know we're open and it's safe. So this is one of the original versions of the website that we have. It's been updated now that talks through how are we keeping our employees safe, how are our stores safe, so customers can check that out if they're interested and want to come to a store. We did a lot of marketing in both email and in digital to let customers know we want to say hi, find out if a store is open near you and what offerings it has, like if you can just curbside, if you can just BOPIS, or if you can walk in, depending if it was safe to do so. And this is, I think, the fastest our creative team has ever worked on anything. I think they turned this around in less than 5 days. So as I mentioned, curbside was not an offering pre-COVID. When stores started to reopen, curbside was the main way that they can shop Old Navy. So our creative team came up with these cute little graphics on contactless curbside pickup. where you can park, sort of what the details were, how you can call. Basically, you just pop the trunk, they put it in, they shut it. So there's really no interaction with anyone to make it safe. So amazing work from the team. This was all then printed by the stores and posted and put out on as needed by their store. And then values. As I've talked about a lot, brand values are super important to this brand. And as we had sort of COVID and customers with a lot of uncertainty, we as a brand wanted to make sure we were out there helping our customers and serving our customers. So we, as Old Navy, donated $30 million of clothing to families in need across America. We wanted to make sure we were doing our part. And to sort of let people know that we do that, we made this amazing piece of video content, which I'll get to in a minute. And we never had the intention of running this on television or anywhere, but we were so proud of the message. We were getting a lot of great feedback that we ended up putting this on television, which was the first time we've ever put like a branded spot on TV. And we've got a lot of amazing feedback on it. So I'll share this. And this launched in mid-May and ran through about 2 weeks ago. So I'll play this for you. So we partnered with this artist, Noah Scallon, and he essentially makes art installations out of everyday items. So he made that image of a family out of Old Navy product, which was pretty amazing. And then we amplified that. We partnered with Baby to Baby, who's this amazing charity organization who gives back to families in need. So we partnered with them. We donated some of the $30 million to Baby to Baby. Then we had a press launch with this, and then it ran in paid media, like I mentioned. It was really only going to be in some of our social channels, and we ended up putting that online or on television to sort of spread the word. And then as things continue to evolve, and we as things change on a daily basis, and there was COVID, and then we things happened with Black Lives Matter, we wanted to make sure as a brand that we were sort of responding to that and servicing our customer where it made sense. So as a brand, as I mentioned, we always have been about belonging and democracy, and everyone is welcome. So I'll show you a couple of social posts that we've put out in the last few weeks to sort of speak to that. And then we've also, knowing that mom is sort of a core audience for us, we partnered with Embrace Race, which is this amazing nonprofit organization who works with parents and families and how to talk to their children about race, which we have learned through research is very challenging for parents to talk to them. So we wanted to make sure we were giving parents tools if they needed to be able to talk to their children and have these honest conversations at home. So these were both in our Instagram stories, so I'll just play them so you can see them. So on the left, we ran this on the 4th of July, sort of talking about how as a brand, we believe in the equality of everyone. We stand together as a collective we, and we actually paused all of our marketing on that day to sort of take a moment to have people think about this and remind us that we need to come together and be united as people, as a country. And so that was a big, for us, we just wanted to take a minute not sell clothes that day and really have everyone sort of have like a moment of that. And then the next one is our post, as I mentioned, us partnering with Embrace Race, sort of helping our mom customer with tips and tools on how to speak to their kids about race. And then lastly, so as I've mentioned at the very beginning, we were looking at new ways to creatively think about how to be on television. We will have a more product focus similar to the Neil Patrick Harris Old Navy Tonight as we head into the back half. But when COVID hit, we wanted to come up with a brand spot that would sort of be our sort of COVID response, how we want to show up as a brand and talk to our customers. Then as things have evolved, we've had to pivot this a little bit. So this is our latest piece of video work that is currently running. It launched about a week ago. So I wanted to share that. Hopefully it will. But actually, sorry, it looks like the link's not working, but it's on YouTube. You can check it out. We're really proud of it. So, and that's all I had. So I definitely can take some Q&A. I know there's some questions in the Q&A, but I can definitely take some questions some more now as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. So sorry that last link didn't work. It worked when we tested, right?
I know, so sorry.
All right. So in terms of some questions we have, one question, and I'm sorry, your name didn't come through. So whoever submitted this towards the beginning asked, how do you balance marketing to your core customers, so like the mom, versus marketing with like younger generations, Gen Z, and those shoppers?
It's a very, very good question. We talk about this as a conversation we have all the time within marketing. So it's an interesting balance because, you know, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're trying to, the goal of we're selling jeans and tees and we need to drive profitability. But at the end of the day, we also need to make sure we're bringing in new customers. So a few things that we do is, one, particularly as we think about social platforms and other places to market outside of Facebook and Instagram, and where is the younger audience at? We know spending a lot of time on TikTok, Snapchat, things of that. And we know we can't run what we're running to mom on those channels. So really making an effort to create content that's relevant to those channels and relevant to those audiences, and how we show up there. We're also launching next week, which we're really excited about, is we're actually doing for the first time sort of a capsule collection for tweens. So right now our kids product services kids up to around 10. And then we don't really make product for that tween teen audience. So we're working with a partner and we're launching a tween collection next week. We're really, really excited about it. I encourage you guys all to check it out next week. So we are trying to do things and test into things that reach that younger audience, but definitely something we try to balance and we talk about all the time.
Great, thank you. And then another question from Sarah Park asks, so when you were talking about like how Old Navy's always stood for denim, but then at the beginning of the year, transitioning to fleece. So what were some of the steps taken to decide that fleece was a category Old Navy wanted to stand for?
Great, again, really good question. So we have a design, so our design team, I don't know if you guys have had a presentation from them yet, but we have a whole trends team within design, and their whole focus is looking at sort of trends in the marketplace from a product and design perspective. So they had seen fleece trending for some time, and we had it in the assortment. And really, as they think about where some of these products are in the Old Navy curve, we tend to not be, because we're so mass and value, we're not much of a leader in trend, we tend to like be there when the peak is. And so that the trend team sort of identified it, then working with the merch and marketing teams realized, okay, this is the right time in spring of 2020 that we're going to launch fleece. It's going to be a big trend within sort of the broader marketplace. And sort of that's when we decided to pivot, because typically we market denim in the spring, and we pivoted to fleece, which ended up being a pretty amazing luck for us in terms of we had this amazing product that everyone wanted, in terms of the fact it was selling really well pre-COVID, and then sort of with COVID hitting, fleece, definitely that's what everyone was shopping for. So we definitely had the right product at the right time.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, now shifting, Bianca, Leticia Perez asks, so when you were talking about loyalty programs, and so what led to pushing Old Navy to implement a non-card loyalty program? Since we've been pushing cards, and that's a really great way to get customer data and have customer loyalty. So she says, I understand you want to have a high customer retention rate, but I'm so sorry, but was the decision driven by the opportunity to understand the Old Navy customer better through data gathering through this program? So I guess multifaceted. What drove us to do a non-card loyalty program? And was it through data? Was it through loyalty? A mixture of both.
Yeah. So ultimately, we want to know as much about our customer as possible so we can have a personalized customer experience. And we know that only so much of the population wants a credit card. And there's a whole lot of other customers out there who we want to make sure we have their information so we can better market to them. And we may or may not have their email on file. And we also know, being Old Navy, being a value brand, we have a lot of cash customers. I believe it's around 20% of our customers are cash customers. So we want to make sure, and we know they're shopping us, we want to make sure we know about them. So we've been talking for quite some time about a non-card loyalty program. We think it's sort of, it's sort of table stakes now in terms of retail, that a lot of people have them. We know, I talked about Sephora. We know that Target relaunched one last year. So it's super important for this brand in order to know more about our customer so we can market to them better. And then from a retention perspective, we know customers who do have a loyalty card tend to go back and shop more frequently.
Awesome, thank you. All right, our next question. What does an average timeline look like for a new campaign? So this one came in for the fun clothing image video that you shared with us.
Oh yeah.
So what does an average timeline look like for a new campaign from conception to final implementation and then post-campaign evaluation? So what are some of the steps involved? And I guess also, what's a typical timeline, but then like
yeah, we can talk about both a typical timeline and a COVID timeline.
There you go.
Yeah. So just for context for you guys, we kicked off holiday with the holiday concept brief to our creative team 2 weeks ago. So at the beginning of July. So, and that campaign will launch in early November. So I'm doing some math in my head. So it's about 4 to 5 months, typically, from when we kick off a campaign to when it runs. And then holiday will run through the end of December, and we will hindsight holiday typically within 8 weeks after. So we'll be in holiday sort of kickoff to implementation to finalizing it from July all the way through the end of February. So it is definitely a very long timeline when we're looking at like big seasonal efforts. When we look at sort of the video of the Noah with the product, we turned that around, I want to say, in 3 to 4 weeks, which is incredibly fast for us. So we can do things much quicker, but typically on a normal basis, it's around 4 to 6 to 7 months for a typical campaign life cycle. So we're typically always in 3 seasons at one time. We're briefing a season, we're living in a season, and we're hindsighting a season. which is always
And I was
fun.
just about to say like, oh, and it's, yes, so one season might look like that, but you're juggling so many because you're at different times.
So the creative team right now is concepting. They're in the process of like the big concepting for holiday. They're implementing back to school, and then we're hindsighting what's been happening over the summer. So yeah.
Awesome. And so since you just mentioned back to school, we had a question just come in. All right, back to school is coming around. And I used to work in the kids world when I was in inventory management, and we would always say back to school is bigger than Black Friday for kids and babies.
Yeah.
So, but with a lot of students not actually returning to school and continuing their education online, is Old Navy going to pivot our back to school messaging? Or like how is your team thinking about what back to school looks like in a COVID world?
Yeah, really, really good question. And I don't have a full answer. I can talk to you a little bit about what we're thinking and what we're doing. So we do know that the back to school time will be very different this year. Typically we've been seeing over the years, the back to school timeframe is just getting much longer. It used to peak the last week of July, the first week in August, and then sort of trail off. We've been seeing it creep into Labor Day more and more. So I imagine what we'll sort of see this time is the back to school period, or whatever we're going to call it, will just be much longer, and it'll be more based on not a need that I need something to go to my first day of school or my first week of school, or I'm going to go to my first week of school and see what people were wearing and I need to shop, but more on a needs base. What we've been seeing throughout COVID is that our actually kids business has been really strong because kids are continuing to grow through COVID, and mom needs to replenish, and she's replenishing. Maybe she's not stocking up as much, but she's replenishing more over time when like the need comes up. So what we're sort of thinking is the back to school timeframe will be more online focused than stores focused, and it will probably creep into late September versus sort of the Labor Day that we're typically seeing it. But we're continuing to monitor and talk about it. But I imagine if we were to talk in like 2 weeks, I might have a different answer for you.
Awesome, thanks. And also just wanted to give a plug. As a mom, I love Old Navy's clothes for my daughter, and the deals online are so great. My husband probably doesn't like it, but it's and great basics.
Thank you for helping our kids' business, Beth.
Awesome. Okay. Couple questions, and then we have a couple questions, I think more around like your experience in your career. One being, of all of the responsibilities of everything you own, what energizes you the most, and what also seems to take more effort?
So the things that energize me the most and are a lot of the stuff that we do around our brand values, around giving back to our community. It's the day in, day out of selling product and launching product campaigns is really, really interesting at Old Navy, but it's, it's a lot. We're a value brand. It's very fast paced, but I feel like we do a lot of great work for our community and for giving back. And those tend to be some of the more rewarding campaigns. They're also the hardest to sort of, to pull off and to get live, because there's no playbook for it. It's not something we do. We definitely have our pipelines and our playbooks for how we sell product, but how we sort of sell the brand and think about the brand and our values is very different. No campaign looks the same. No process looks the same. So they can definitely a lot of, I would say, effort goes into them because people are more passionate about them. We want to do the right thing. We want to make sure we're not just marketing something that we aren't doing. So those I would say I'm the most proud of. They also take the most work and the most lively discussions, but they're also the most rewarding to sort of see them out there in the world, and also see a lot of the youth that we give back to and how excited they are for how we show up as a brand.
Great, thank you. And then our final question we have. So a lot of the students on the line now are rising seniors, so going into their final year of college. We also have people going into their last years of their like master's, MBA, PhD programs as well, but a lot of rising seniors. So what advice would you give to someone? What advice would you give to yourself at the beginning of your career? So if you could write a letter to your former self, what would you tell her? Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be, there's probably two things that I would tell myself. I think one is that you probably have an idea in your mind of what your career path is going to be. And it might not show up that way. I think, you know, especially in the last 3 to 4 months, I've learned that you have to pivot quickly. Things change all the time. And as I think about my career, I definitely had an idea of what I thought it was going to be. And I'm not where that is now. It has pivoted along the way. And I think being sort of open-minded and being open to new opportunities. I think from a marketing perspective, it used to be very simple. Marketing was pretty easy. Like you had television, you had digital, and now things are very blurred and very complex, which makes it really exciting. So be open-minded, and your career may pivot one way, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then the other thing I would just say is take risks. Something I try to do in my career today is if I feel passionately about something or I want to get something done, to speak up. And maybe it's not, it's something that I feel passionately about, take that risk, because I think it's super important to be able to do that.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much. Since we're running close to time, everyone on the call, I am dropping my email address into the chat. Please, please, please feel free to reach out to me if you think of other questions for Michelle or about Gap Inc. in general, or I don't know, questions about life, whatever the heck you want to ask, please send my way. I will also consolidate the questions down and send them to Michelle. So you will get an answer. And then at the same time, if we can't answer the question for you, I will find someone who can. So please feel free to reach out and stay connected. And what I also wanted to give another plug for is our application for our rotational management program is now live. I also just dropped the link in the chat as well. So please go take a look. We have a recorded info session on that website and more information about the application process, but just wanted to let this group know that the application is live. I'd also be happy to answer any questions you might have about that. So I think that's that. But Michelle, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Whenever I hear, especially more from the creative side of Old Navy, I know and granted I'm an employee, but I still get really energized about the brand. So really appreciate you pulling all of this together for us.
No problem. And thank you everyone on the call for being here for the last hour. I appreciate it.
All right. So today is Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please reach out with questions, comments, concerns. Happy to help any way we can. All right. Take care.